April 15th, a day of judgment for Korean politicians, is sneaking up on us this year amid the blanket media coverage of the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 outbreak. But with less than 2 months to go until South Korea's general election, what's at stake and what are likely to be the decisive factors? Well, here's my view as a British journalist who's reported on several elections here over the last decade. Firstly, what's at stake? 300 seats in South Korea's National Assembly, to put it simply, but for the ruling Democratic Party and President Jae-in, it's the biggest litmus test since he was elected amid South Korea's candlelight revolution that in 2017 ousted Moon's predecessor, the now imprisoned Park Geun-hye. More than a litmus test though, failure for the Democratic Party in this election would likely mean a shift back in a conservative direction that seemed unthinkable just a couple of years ago because of the association with ex-President Park. And the DP's failure would likely mean lame duck status for President Moon for the last 2 years of his single term. And this is important for domestic directions, of course, as well as major foreign policy decisions like how to handle both supposed allies and enemies. Will we continue to try cooperation with North Korea or return to tensions? Will we continue to negotiate hard with Japan and the US or put security first? Let's look at some of the factors that could influence these outcomes. First, some much talked about recent topics. COVID-19 itself is affecting the political landscape, but not as much as it would have if the Moon administration was showing obvious failures in its handling of the outbreak. And from a virus to parasite, it's been interesting seeing some of the media coverage of how lawmakers have been trying to ride the coattails of Parasite's Oscar success, considering some leading conservatives criticized the movie before its accolades. It would more likely play into the DP's hands if anything, but overall the film's impact seems more relevant in terms of Korea's soft power than the general election. So what issues will decide this election? Economic successes or failures always play a role. Even though South Korea has been dragged down by global trade protectionism among other international factors, the Moon administration's been criticized for things like failing to produce quality jobs and for business-unfriendly measures like increasing the minimum wage too fast. That could hurt the Democratic Party, which will need to prove it can pragmatically deliver on the spirit of the candlelight revolution. The new leading conservative alliance, a merger of the main opposition and 2 minor camps that recently formed the United Future Party, isn't far behind the ruling DP in terms of seats. Swing voters could play a huge role in key districts, and they make up 30 to 40% of total voters, it's estimated. One of the most intriguing battles to watch will be main opposition leader Kyo-ahn going up against the DP's Nak-yeon, former Prime Minister for the Central District of Jongno in Seoul. Either might be seen as a strong presidential candidate for the future if they win. Overall, we need to see a fair election with less mudslinging than positive, deliverable promises. And with key cards to play for the winners, the world should take notice.